Hey there everybody, it's Mark Curley. I'm back with another How to Draw video. We're going to be working on one that people have been requesting for a while, how to draw manga mouths. So what I have here is 4 different faces. I've drawn everything but the mouths. And let's go ahead and get going. I'm going to zoom in on this first one and see what we can learn. Okay, so this is going to be a sort of a smiling mouth, and it is probably going to be the simplest thing I've ever taught in any of my videos. That's the thing with manga mouths, is the emphasis is generally on the eyes, and so the mouths tend to stay quite simple. So for some of you who may feel that this is too simple, go ahead and skip on to the next part of the video, but I'm going to go ahead and do a drawing of smiling mouth here. I'm going to start with a line just a little bit below the nose there, going right across like that. I'd say it's about the same width as this eye over here, as a kind of a guideline. Then over here, just moving in a little touch from this line, I'm going to drop down, and this is maybe as tricky as it gets. I'm stopping, I'm just having it kind of trail off, and in a minute I'll explain why I did that. Let's go over here and draw another line coming down at a slightly different angle, kind of coming in, reaches the bottom, near but not too near to the chin, begins curving around, and again I'm going to have it just kind of stop. This is kind of a classic thing that I see in a lot of manga. Rather than outlining the entire mouth, very often there's a bit of a gap there. It just keeps the drawing a little lighter. And if you want to add one tiny little touch, you can just sort of darken up this edge. I notice some artists will do that, sort of darken up this edge. But otherwise, anything else that you do to this, like shading or coloring it in, you're kind of going to be overdoing it. So I would just sort of leave it at that, and let's move on to the next one. Okay, well, this one's probably going to be a little more challenging and a little more fun to draw, I think. Let's start with a line that is coming down from a little bit of a space, maybe the length of this iris here, starting right here. Now look at the angle of the eye going kind of straight across. This line is going to be coming down a little more so that it's not parallel to that line. Coming down like that, and here's a bit of a trick. As it nears the chin here, or the cheek, I guess that is, it's going to curve up just a bit. Doesn't touch that line, just stops short of it. I see this in a lot of manga mouths, this kind of classic shape here. Let's go ahead and do another line that really is more parallel to this line. Keep in mind you've got a gap between the chin line and this lower line that I'm about to draw. Maybe again about the height or distance of that iris, maybe just a little more. But in any case, I'm going to make a line that starts again near this line without touching it and going across. Pretty much parallel to that line up there. So if you've got these two angles right, then you're ready to connect them and make a kind of a classic manga mouth shape. Let's do this line over here first, kind of curving just a little bit so it's not really at a point, and then coming up like that, meeting the angle that was formed when we had that line curve off there. And then with a sort of a gentle curve connecting these two together. And that shape, it's a little hard to describe that shape, but that is to me a sort of a classic manga mouth shape. Now he's supposed to have gritted teeth here, and I always get a kick out of how a lot of Japanese characters have the indication of a kind of a fang. So I'm going to start right around the middle, maybe just a little closer to the bottom than to the top. I'm indicating a fang here. And this line comes across kind of between the two, kind of splitting the difference in terms of the angles between the two. And if you want to get kind of detailed about it, you can try to indicate another tiny fang over here. Not strictly necessary. This is really the one that people need to see, though, if you want to give it that manga look. And again, based on what I've seen, I am not going to shade in anything. I'm just going to leave this white, as so often the manga artists do. And that's it for this one. Let's move on to the next one. Alright, so I've kind of done these in order of difficulty. This one starts to get a little trickier because the mouth will be open and you're going to see the tongue, and we're going to start to get kind of shading stuff going on. Let's start with a big line coming across beneath the nose. Sort of measure a certain distance down from there, maybe the height of the nose itself, kind of measure that same distance here, and that's where this line is going to go. Now this is a kind of a gentle, very gentle S curve kind of a line, like that. Not real exaggerated, just kind of a gentle curve. Then looking at this cheek line here, we don't want to stay parallel to it. We want to get just a little bit of an angle and create a line coming down here without going all the way down to the chin, because you're going to start to curve away from the chin at the bottom. Follow along here to create the bottom of the mouth, and we're going to do just like we did with the girl's smiley face before. I'm going to have it just kind of trail off here, and we're going to have a little gap. Like I said, I see very often done in manga. So I'm starting up here again, coming down. Again, looking at this angle, you want a different kind of an angle here. Almost, I would say almost vertical, really, for this line. Coming down and stopping so that you get a gap there. Alright. So having got that in there, I'm going to go ahead and indicate some teeth here at the top. Come across here. The key with this line here is that it's going to stop well before it gets to that line. Have it curve up here to be the upper teeth. Notice that I'm not going to put any lines delineating the teeth. That's more of a Western comic style thing, I think, getting into the details of the teeth. Sometimes you see that in Japanese comics, but very often just a white bar there for the top of the teeth. And now the lower teeth are kind of narrower, a narrower band of white at the bottom here. And I'm creating this line, kind of a curving line that comes across and indicates the tongue. And then this is kind of interesting how they have this band of teeth down here kind of curving around there. A little bit like we're looking down on the teeth as they curve around. And I'm going to just go ahead and darken in this whole area here. I think it can just be pretty much black. Although if you want any variation at all, I'd say the darkest area is going to be near the top and the lightest area is going to be near the bottom. And then finally, I'm just going to add a little bit of shading lines here real quick. Like that. Add a little bit of tone, maybe just a touch of extra shadow at the top. And there you go. Slightly more complicated, kind of an interesting wide opened mouth effect. But again, notice how there's this little gap down here, and that's just kind of a hallmark of manga style mouths. Alright, we're ready for the last one. Let's go for it. Okay, so I wanted to do at least one side view, mouth wide open, kind of a guy shouting here. And let's go ahead and start with the upper lip, which is just a short line here, coming down, kind of same angle as the bottom of the nose. And I'm going to try to do a nice smooth line here that curves back to create the shape of the mouth. I don't know if there's any simple way of describing this, but I'm just going to kind of go ahead and do it. It starts going up here, and it curves around, coming down like that, and kind of just hooking at the bottom to create the bottom part of the mouth. Now we're going to go ahead and do a little line of teeth here. Again, I thought it might be fun to sort of get a little fang in there. I think that comes from real, actual. In Japan, you see a lot of people who have teeth like that. And then the line of the other side of the mouth, it's sort of like you're able to see both sides of the mouth, the front and the back side or the other side, is starting a little bit back from the that little white band of upper teeth there. And we are going to come down here. It's maybe just a little bit wider at the top than at the bottom, but it curves down. And the interesting thing is the upper teeth are visible outside the mouth, but the lower teeth are not going to be so prominent. They're going to be kind of tucked back here. I'm just making a line to indicate those teeth, and maybe just a little bit of a tongue back here. And then the lower lip, try to keep it kind of small here. And that's kind of got the basic shape of the wide open mouth here. I'm going to go ahead and do some shading. And that's pretty much going to do it for this one, I think, although I might throw in some kind of throw in some lines here to show that he's shouting. Why not? And yeah, that pretty much shows you 4 different styles. Let's go ahead and pull the camera back so you can see all of them all at once, and maybe I'll have some final words for you. Alright, well there you have it, all 4 of the different manga mouths I showed you today. This is not all the different kinds of manga mouths there are. There are many, many more. Maybe someday I can do another video about them. And let's just go ahead and thank everyone who's bought my manga series, Miki Falls. I really, really deeply appreciate your support, especially those of you who have bought all 4 books. Thank you, thank you. And before I go, I just want to quickly mention that I decided to get on Twitter now, so if you want to kind of catch up with what I'm doing on a daily basis, go ahead and start following me over there, twitter.com/Mark Crilly must be. I'll go ahead and throw the URL up at the end of this video. In the meantime, let's just lay the pencil down. Thank you all for watching, and assure you that I will be back with another one real soon.